Most people think a blackout means grabbing candles and waiting it out. That assumption fails within 12 hours. Your fridge is warming, your toilet system is on its last flush, your phone is dead, and every shop within driving distance is about to be stripped bare by people who figured it out before you did. B&Q has over 300 stores. Every one of them will be picked clean within 48 hours of a grid failure. Most people will arrive too late because they waited too long to recognize what was happening. One item on this list costs under £4, weighs 25 kilograms, and solves a problem most people won't see coming until their house is on fire. It's not a torch. It's not a battery. 9 items, all available on a normal shelf right now, covering light, water, warmth, cooking, sanitation, and structural improvisation. The complete grid-down shopping list from someone trying to operate where AI mains power. While everyone else is fighting over candles in aisle 3, you'll already be home and sorted. Item 1. Batteries. Not whatever's on the shelf. One format, one size. That's it. Here's what civilians do. They grab a mixed handful. Some AA, some AAA. A pack of C cells because they looked right. Then they get home and half their devices take a format they didn't buy. You've spent money on power you can't use. That is waste. And waste during a grid failure isn't inconvenience. It's a countdown. What trained personnel do is standardize. You pick one battery format and you make sure every device in your household runs on it. AA is the standard. It powers more devices across more categories than any other size. LED torches, radios, clocks, remote controls, small fans, most portable speakers. One format means every battery you own is interchangeable across every device you own. Nothing sits useless because the size doesn't match. Buy in bulk. A pack of 40 AA batteries from B&M or Home Bargains costs you around £5 to £6. That's your entire power supply for 48 hours across multiple devices. No hunting through drawers for odd sizes. No dead batteries in the wrong format sitting next to a torch you can't use. Here's the calculation that matters. 40 cells at £6 gives you roughly 15 pence per unit of portable power. A pack of 4 from a petrol station costs you £4. That's £1 per battery. You're paying nearly 7 times more per cell for the same chemistry. Bulk AA, one format, nothing else. Running total, £6. I've written up everything you need to know about grid failure preparation. It's a full guide you can print and keep offline. Links in the first line of the description. Item 2. LED torches and head torches. Not the biggest, not the brightest, the right ones. Most people walk into Argos or go outdoors and pick the torch with the highest lumen count on the box. Feels logical. More light, better torch. Wrong. 1,000 lumen torch pointed at a wall 3 meters away will destroy your night vision for roughly 30 minutes. That's not a number I've made up. That's scotopic vision recovery time. Your pupils dilate in darkness to gather maximum light. One blast of white LED collapses them. Now you're blind every time you switch it off. What you actually need is a head torch with a red filter mode. Red light sits at the low end of the visible spectrum. It provides enough illumination to work, read, cook, and move without collapsing your dark adaptation. Royal Marines use red light as standard during night operations for exactly this reason. You see what you need to see. You keep your peripheral vision. You don't announce your position to everyone within 200 meters. Buy 2. One main LED head torch with a red mode for hands-free work. One small pocket torch as backup. Both running on AA batteries. Both feeding from that single bulk pack you've already bought. That's the standardization principle paying off immediately. A decent head torch from Screwfix or Toolstation costs you around £8 to £10. A small backup torch is £3 to £4. Call it £14 total for complete illumination across 48 hours with no night vision compromise. You need both hands free during a grid failure. You're cooking on a portable stove. You're filling water containers. You're taping sheeting over windows. A handheld torch means one hand is always occupied holding light instead of doing work. A head torch follows your eyes. Where you look is where the light goes. No hands wasted. Running total, £20. Item 3. Camping gas canisters and a portable stove. This is your kitchen now. Your hob runs on mains electricity or mains gas. Both are gone. Your microwave is dead. Your oven is dead. Your kettle is dead. You now have no way to heat food, boil water, or make a hot drink. Within 12 hours, that goes from annoying to serious. A single-threaded camping gas canister holds 220 grams of butane. That gives you approximately 90 minutes of burn time. Not 90 minutes of cooking. 90 minutes of flame. A meal takes 15 to 20 minutes. A boiled kettle takes 4 to 5. You'll get through a canister faster than you think. For 48 hours of basic use, you need 2 to 3 canisters minimum. Most people buy one and assume it'll last. It won't. Do the maths before you're standing in the dark with a cold stove and an empty canister. A portable stove from Go Outdoors or Blacks costs around £15 to £20. Canisters are £2 to £3 each at most outdoor retailers. Call it £8 for 3 canisters. Total cooking setup, £28 for 48 hours of hot food and boiled water. One critical point. Carbon monoxide, a gas stove produces it. Indoors, without ventilation, it accumulates. You cannot see it or smell it. You need a window cracked open any time that stove is lit. Not optional. Not if it's cold outside. Open the window. A few degrees of lost heat is nothing compared to CO poisoning, knocking your family unconscious. British Army field doctrine requires ventilation with any enclosed flame source. Same rule applies in your kitchen. Running total, £48. Item 4. Large water containers and jerrycans fill everything. Right now, most people assume the taps will keep running during a power cut. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Water mains rely on pumping stations. Pumping stations rely on electricity. If the grid goes down and backup generators fail or run dry, water pressure drops. Then it stops. Military doctrine on water is simple. The moment you have any indication of supply disruption, you fill every available container, every pot, every bottle, every bucket. You don't wait to see if it gets worse. You act on the assumption that it will. The minimum water requirement is 4.5 liters per person per day. That covers drinking and basic hygiene. For a household of 4 over 48 hours, you need 36 liters minimum. A 25-litre jerrycan from B&Q costs around £8 to £10. One of those, plus your filled kettle, pots and bottles, gets a family through 2 days. Buy at least one dedicated water container. A collapsible jerrycan works if storage space is tight. A rigid one is more durable. Either way, fill it the moment you suspect anything is wrong with the grid. Don't wait for confirmation. Don't wait for the news to tell you. By the time they do, your neighbors are filling theirs and the pressure is already dropping. Your fridge stays safe for roughly 4 hours with the door closed. Your freezer holds for 24 to 48 hours if it's full and you don't open it. Food Standards Agency guidance. Don't open them to check. Every time you open the door, you halve the remaining safe window. Running total, £58. Item 5. Thick black bin bags. Not the cheap ones, the thick ones. Within 24 hours of a grid failure, if water pressure dropped, your toilet stops flushing. Most people don't think about this until it happens. Then it becomes the only thing they can think about. Field sanitation protocol is straightforward. You line the toilet bowl with a heavy-duty bin bag. You use it. You tie it off. You replace it. That's your toilet now. It sounds grim. It works. It keeps fecal matter contained, prevents contamination of your living space, and stops the disease vector that hits hard in any prolonged grid-down scenario. This is what British Army personnel do in field positions without plumbing. It's not glamorous. It's effective. But sanitation is only the first function. Thick black bin bags do 5 jobs. Toilet liner. Blackout curtain taped over windows when you don't want light visible from outside. Waterproof layer over anything you need to keep dry. Dry storage container for clothes, documents, or food. Rain collection funnel rigged with a cable tie and a container underneath. One item. 5 functions. A roll of 10 heavy-duty bin bags costs you about £2 from Poundland or Home Bargains. Buy 2 rolls. That's £4 for 20 bags, covering sanitation for days and giving you material for a dozen other uses. Running total, £62. Now pay attention to this one. Item 6. Builder's bulk bags of sharp sand. This is the one from the start. Under £4, 25 kilograms. And it solves the problem most people won't see coming until it's too late. When the grid goes down, people light candles. Lots of them. Every room. On shelves, on windowsills, on tables, next to curtains, next to books, next to anything flammable. London Fire Brigade data shows residential fire callouts increase significantly during blackout events. Exposed flames in houses full of fabric, paper, and wood. People who haven't used candles regularly in years suddenly relying on them as primary light sources. Now add this. The fire service response during a grid failure is compromised. Traffic lights are out. Electric station doors may not open. Communication systems are degraded. The crew that normally reaches you in 8 minutes might take 20, or 30, or longer. You're in a house with no running water. You can't fight a fire with a tap that doesn't work. You don't own a fire extinguisher. Most people don't. And the one thing that would suppress a small fire instantly, with 0 training, 0 maintenance, and 0 pressurized systems, is sitting in the builder's aisle of B&Q for £3.50. Sharp sand, 25 kilograms. You dump it on a flame, and the fire goes out. Sand smothers fire by cutting off oxygen. It doesn't require water pressure. It doesn't expire. It doesn't need servicing. It doesn't care whether you've ever used it before. You pick it up and you pour it on the flame. British Army fire discipline requires suppression material positioned beside any open flame in a field environment. Not across the room, not in a cupboard, beside the flame. You cook with a candle lit on the table. The sand sits next to that table, a stove flame in the kitchen. The sand sits next to that stove. Immediate access. No searching, no delay. And here's the second function most people miss entirely. If the grid fails in winter and temperatures drop below 0, paths and driveways ice over. NHS data shows A&E admissions from falls spike during ice events. Sharp sand spread on a path gives you grip. Same bag, same £4, fire suppression and path gritting. Try finding another single item at that price covering 2 completely unrelated critical functions. A 25-kilogram bag of sharp sand from B&Q or Wickes costs under £4. That's less than a coffee and a sandwich for fire suppression capability that sits in your hallway ready to save your house. Running total, £66. Item 7. Plastic sheeting and dust sheets. Specifically 200-micron polythene. Most people think about warmth during a power cut and reach for blankets. Blankets help. But they solve one problem. A single roll of heavy-duty polythene solves 4. First, thermal insulation. Your windows are the biggest source of heat loss in your house. A sheet of polythene taped over a window frame with duct tape creates a dead air space between the glass and the plastic. That dead air space is an insulator. It's the same principle used in double glazing. You won't match factory-fitted units, but you'll reduce heat loss through that window significantly. Do every window in one room. Seal the door gaps. You've created a warm room that holds heat from body warmth and your gas stove far more effectively than an unsealed house. Second, water collection. Polythene sheeting rigged at an angle outdoors funnels rainwater into a container. You're not relying on mains pressure. You're not waiting for supply to be restored. You're collecting. Third, improvised shelter. If you have structural damage from a storm, polythene sheeting covers a broken window or a damaged roof section. It keeps rain and wind out while you deal with the immediate situation. Fourth, blackout covering. Like the bin bags, but for larger windows or sliding doors where a bin bag won't cover the span. Polythene across a patio door taped at the edges gives you full coverage. A 4 meter by 4 meter sheet of 200 micron polythene costs under £15 at B&Q. One item, 4 functions, replacing dedicated insulation material, a tarpaulin, a rain catchment system, and blackout blinds. The combined cost of those alternatives runs well over £100. Running total, £81. Item 8. Duct tape and gaffer tape. Essential. In military field operations, tape is ranked alongside a knife and a light source as a top 3 item. Not top 10. Top 3. Civilians think of duct tape as something for quick fixes around the house. In a grid failure scenario, it's the thing that holds your entire setup together. Every function from the last 3 items depends on it. Polythene sheeting over a window needs tape to seal the edges. Bin bags used as blackout curtains need tape to hold them in place. Drawer gaps under doors need tape to seal them. A leaking pipe needs a temporary wrap. A broken handle needs a rebuild. A bandage needs securing when you've run out of plasters. A 50-meter roll of quality duct tape from Screwfix costs £5 to £6. That single roll replaces the function of cable clips, draft excluders, sealant strips, pipe repair tape, and improvised fixings that would collectively cost you £60 or more. 50 meters is enough for every window in a 3-bedroom house, every door gap, and still leave you 20 meters for repairs and improvisation. Buy the wider roll, 50 millimeters minimum. The narrow stuff tears and peels under tension. The wider tape holds better, covers gaps in fewer passes, and gives you a stronger bond on rough surfaces. Running total, £87. Item 9. Cable ties, bulk packs, the most overlooked item on this entire list. Royal Engineers and Royal Marines consume cable ties in enormous quantities during field construction. They're tool-free, they're instant, they hold under tension, they weigh nothing, and they remain on the shelves at B&Q and Screwfix long after every obvious item has been cleared out. A bulk pack of 200 mixed-size cable ties costs £4 to £5. It weighs almost nothing, and it covers a range of fastening applications that would otherwise require screws, nails, cord, clips, and clamps. Cable ties attach polythene sheeting to a washing line for rain collection. They bundle cables and secure loose items during a storm. They construct a drying line between 2 fixed points in under a minute. They repair a broken chair, a collapsed shelf bracket, or a cracked fence panel. They lash together improvised structures that would otherwise need a drill, screws, and 20 minutes of assembly. 200 ties, £4 to £5. Tool-free, instant deployment, the weight of a small paperback, the capability of a full tool bag. Most people don't even consider them because they don't associate cable ties with emergency preparedness. That's exactly why they're still on the shelf when everything else is gone. The items nobody thinks to grab are the items that give you the greatest advantage when the obvious supplies have been cleared out. Running total, £92, 9 items, under £100 total. One trip to B&Q or Screwfix. Everything fits in a single car boot. You've got light that doesn't blind you, cooking that doesn't poison you, water for 2 days, sanitation that doesn't contaminate your home, fire suppression beside every flame, insulation across every window, and the fastening capability to hold all of it together. While everyone else is still queuing in the dark, wondering where the candles went, you're home, set up, and operational. I've put together a full guide on grid failure readiness you can print and keep where Wi-Fi can't help you. Links in the description. Drop a comment and tell me. What's the one item you'd add as number 10?